Hi, I'm Andy Villamarzo with SBLive Sports Florida, and thank you for joining us for another edition of the Coastal, our high school football podcast. And we've been doing it all playoffs long, state semifinal time here, and all the classifications are going to be in action Thursday night and Friday night. Got a couple games that are going to be on Thursday night, but we're going to bring on a coach that's going to be coaching on Friday night. He's a team. His team's going from Tampa all the way down to Fort Lauderdale. We bring on Gaither head coach Kirk Carson, and Coach, thank you for coming on with us.
Anytime, Andy. Always a pleasure to come and see you and talk to you.
Well, I got to see you guys last year at a practice or two, and then got to see you guys in live game action. Haven't been able to see the Cowboys, but how about them Cowboys? You guys are playing. You guys beat Jesuit at their place. You got to run me through that region final. Just you guys go to overtime, and this game was kind of similar, eerily similar to the regular season matchup, just like how tight it was. Take me through just winning in overtime and just being able to get over that kind of proverbial hump, as you will, of kind of the mental.
Honestly, it all starts with our week 7 game we had against them. I can't really get into this game until I get into that game. We had a crazy game against them that went into overtime, and we were really struggling at that time. I think we were 2-5 going into that game. I'm sorry, 2-4 going into that game, and we had really had a tough schedule early on, and we just, kind of feeling out our, what type of team we were, learning what our identity was, and learning some tough losses. And we had a couple 1-point losses, and some good teams. And the Jesuit, we just kept telling the teams that you're the best 2-4 team in the nation. Like, you're really, really good. It just hasn't come together yet. And it kind of all came together against Jesuit. We fought really hard. We came back in the fourth quarter against Jesuit in the first time we played them, and we made it to overtime. We lost the coin toss. We get the ball and score on third down, and then they get the ball and they score, and they decided to go for 2, and they called a great play, and they executed it well, and they beat us 36-35. But the reason why I say that, to answer the question, I got to talk to you about that first, is because I think we needed something to galvanize us. Jesuit's a team that's won a state championship in the last couple of years and been to the Final Four, I think, 6 straight years in a row before this year. So I think it really got our team to believe. From there on out, we've beaten 4 Andy district champions in the last 5 weeks, which,
Wow.
Man, that's hard to do. And going into the Jesuit game, we had a lot of confidence, and we knew that we could play with them. And but we actually, we're down 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and our offense really started clicking. Went down the field, scored, stopped them. Went down the field, scored, and then they had, I think, 40 seconds left. Now we're back to where we were week 7. We're back in overtime. We lost coin toss again, and we scored first play and kicked the extra point, and then the ball was in their court, and our defense has really, Andy, played well the last 5-6 weeks of the season, and they stepped up and stopped them on 4 straight plays, and it was pretty big for the program. Big win.
When you talk about that defense, one guy that immediately jumps out to me, and I'm sure probably anybody that's faced you guys offensively, is Antonio Henley. I mean, this defensive tackle of yours, over 35 tackles for loss, 21 sacks, amongst the leaders, not just statewide, but nationally. I feel like everything kind of starts and stops with him. Just his play, I feel like that kind of gets you guys jump-started.
He's our inspirational leader. He is just it's like I explained to him to college coaches, he's a bowling ball full of razor blades. He's about 6 foot tall, 250 pounds, and he's damn near impossible to block. I've had some amazing football players come through our program, some guys that were 5 stars, guys that were ESPN top 300. He's the best defensive football player I've ever coached. He broke our Gaither sack record this year, and he's only a junior. I think he's got 48 career sacks, which is just unheard of because he plays defensive tackle, which, as you know, Andy, very easy position that you can double team. Whereas if you play defensive end, it's much harder. You're asking a running back or a wide receiver, guys that aren't accustomed to blocking. to double team that type of person. But now with Antonio, you're asking an offensive lineman to do it. And, that's what they get paid the big bucks for, is to protect the quarterbacks. And, he faces double teams, triple teams, and he's unreal. I mean, he's the quickest first step of football I've seen in many, many years.
And I remember you telling me at the practice I went to last year, right before the 2022 season. I mean, anybody listening, Coach told me then, Andy, watch out for this kid. And if you're a college coach out there ends up listening, I know you're digging into those transfer portals. Need to look out for this kid. This is a real deal in Antonio Henley. He's had a tremendous season. Well, Coach, St. Thomas Aquinas' offensive line will have to deal with Henley, your guys. Just taking a look at them all week long, just on film, of all the teams you face. I mean, does St. Thomas Aquinas remind anybody that you guys have faced this season or previously?
Definitely. Defensively, they're very similar to Wharton. They have an outstanding defensive line. And Wharton's defensive line, their front four, they're incredible. But the thing is with St. Thomas is not only are their guys good, but they have 4 guys that they can bring in. They're just as good. So they have 8 deep on their defensive line. And in my opinion, that's the strength of their football team. It's going to be a big challenge for us with their defensive line because they're just so dominant. And like I said, they go 8 deep. So, if a guy gets tired, you just roll another guy in and you're getting a fresh guy every single play. I was fortunate enough back in 2006 when I was the defensive coordinator at Gaither and not the head coach. We ran into the number 1 team in America, which was the Lakeland Dreadnoughts with Chris Rainey and the Pouncey twins. They had 7 guys signed with the University of Florida that year.
Yeah.
So we faced them in the second round, and just the amount of talent is just unreal that they are surrounded with. So there's some similarities when it comes to a talent perspective, but theirs is more centered on their defensive line, and their running back is outstanding. He's definitely the best running back that we've seen this year. So it's going to be we're going to have 2, 3, 4 guys gang tackle him. He's a load. He's going to Ohio State. Really, really, really strong running back.
Coach, I've talked to people around the state, and they talk about Gaither and Plant, these 2 teams. Both of you guys playing the state semifinals. You guys haven't traveled too far out of your area. What is something you would say to somebody who kind of questions that to make them kind of say, hey, I mean, what does it matter? We haven't traveled out of the area. What is your kind of rebuttal to that?
I mean, we've beat 4 district champions on the road in the last 5 weeks. And, the other team we beat is a really tough offensive Newsome team on the road. So, I mean, we're 5-0 in our last 5 weeks, and 4 of those wins were against 4 district champions. And every one of those teams made it to at least the second round of the playoffs. So we beat some pretty good teams.
Well, hey, you heard it there first from Coach Carson. They beat multiple district champions. Hey, they just because they haven't gone down to South Florida doesn't mean they can't do it. So, Coach, good luck on Friday against St. Thomas Aquinas. I know you guys been preparing all week and got a long trip down there. But thank you for coming on to Coastal with us.
I really appreciate it, Andy. Thanks for all you do for the kids.
Thank you, Coach. And that is Kurt Carson. He came on with us here at the Coastal. State semifinals coming up. Gaither's traveling down to face St. Thomas Aquinas, one of the top teams in Class 3M this season, and Gaither's out to show they're one of the top teams. So stay tuned with us as we bring on another head coach. And welcome back to the Coastal. Thank you for staying tuned with us. We got another head coach coming on with us, and up next is Pensacola Catholic head coach Matt Adams. And Coach, thank you for joining us on the Coastal.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And Coach, you guys got a very impressive win over in Tallahassee against FSU High, a team that last season, a heartbreaking loss against them, but you get to return to Tallahassee and kind of repay the favor. Kind of talk about that win and just kind of what that did for you guys kind of mentally heading into the state semifinals.
It was a big win for us. That's a great program. They do a great job over there. They've kind of been a roadblock for us for quite a few years now. We've played a lot of close games with them. Unfortunately, they've always come out on top, so it was nice to get a win on our end for a year.
Kind of talk about your backfield here. I feel like that's been what's been driving you guys, CJ Nettles and Nigel Nelson, just these two really kind of providing that 1-2 punch. What kind of separates them from other backfields?
Well, and they got a good group in front of them that have done a great job changing line of scrimmage, and those two just both have incredible vision. Nigel's a big, strong kid, very patient runner, very explosive, and CJ just very explosive. Has both of them, like I said, have great vision, and has been a great 1-2 punch. We got a heavier back that can run you over, and then got CJ who get away from you.
Talk about the offensive line a little bit. Some of the names on that line, and who would you say is the leader of that offensive line that kind of makes sure everybody's doing their job and you guys are gaining all those yards on the ground?
It's a very close-knit group. I would say that Rylan Bragg, he'll be a 4-year starter for us. He's playing our right tackle. Played center for 3 years, and has made the move over there. And he's a great motivator. He holds the guys accountable. Has worked at a great offseason. Really, every year has a great offseason. He's been a great kid to coach. And I'd say he's the leader of that group, and he loves when we run behind him.
Now talk about your state semifinal matchup here. You guys are going to travel to Stark and face Bradford, a team that was a state semifinalist last year. What kind of stands out about them going in this matchup? Do they remind you of anybody that you guys have already played?
They're a great team. I know that. This is the first time we've ever been matched up with them in any recent years. So their team's kind of new to me. But just watch them on film. They're really, really explosive on defense. If you just look at what they've done throughout the year, they have not allowed many points at all, like 3.5, 4 points a game. And they've scored a lot of points on the offensive side too. So I would say their defensive box is something to really be concerned about. And we've played a tough schedule throughout the year, which I think is a good thing for us, getting us ready for games like this, because this is a very well coached, very explosive team. We've played quite a few good defense. I'd say Escambia early in the year was a very good defense that we saw. Florida High, last week, that very good defense also. So it'll be a challenge for sure. They're a real good program, and excited to get to the game.
And there's been a couple programs like Escambia, Niceville. They've made these drive over kind of towards the east coast of the state. What's kind of, I guess, the itinerary for Pensacola Catholic for Friday? Are you guys leaving on Thursday? Leaving? Do you have to do anything special in regards to getting over to start?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good trip for us. We're going to leave Thursday at noon and make our way over. Ended up staying in Lake City Thursday night. So that'll be new for the guys, but I'm excited for them to be able to make a trip like this, to make it this far, and try and keep it as normal, business-like as we can, even though it's a kind of a little bit different week, making a trip this far, but just excited to be where we are right now.
And how much different does it? Are you guys going to have a practice on Thursday in Lake City, or on Friday before you go ahead to Stark? Or is there? Because it's not going to interrupt anything in terms of your guys' preparation. I mean, how do you guys kind of do a walkthrough before having that game on Friday night?
But we're going to stop at Florida State and do a walkthrough Thursday there on our way down, so kind of keep our regular Thursday routine. And then after that, that'll be our last time out, and then we'll get in the hotel and go over some stuff there, and then drive down to Stark Thursday or Friday after pregame meal.
All right. Well, Coach, thank you for coming on the Coastal with us. Good luck on Friday night as you guys travel. Safe travels over to Stark.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and that's Pensacola Catholic head coach Matt Adams. His Crusaders are going to travel to face the Bradford Tornadoes for a chance for the Crusaders to return to Tallahassee, as they just played in Tallahassee in a region final. So if they win, they'll be right back in the 850. So stay tuned with us as we have another head coach coming up on the Coastal. And thank you for staying tuned with us here on the Coastal. We got another head coach joining us. We've got a state semifinal on Friday night, and that is Vanguard head coach Edwin Farmer. Coach, I know you just got done with the banquet. Thank you for joining us, though, and your busy night.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
All right. Well, Coach, you guys, I would have to say, had one of the most impressive region final performances when you guys dispatch of Lake Wales, the Class 3S state champions from 2022. I mean, just kind of talk about how you guys were able to kind of put together, I would say, probably one of your best performances of this.
Oh man, just our guys just having the will and the want to attitude, just to go out and do everything that we needed to do to be successful that night. Last Friday was one of those nights where my kids won it. It's one of those things we talk about all the time. As a team that won the most. You want to be in the winning column. You want victory. We always, we're talking victory. How do we claim victory? Well, we claim victory by the hard work and the dedication that we put in throughout the week, through our practice, studying film, being able to know your opponent, get to know your opponents. I think, our kids worked hard to understand their opponent, understand the things they need to do to be successful in all aspects of the game, on offense, defense, and special teams.
Well, I'm one of the people that got to see your first game of the season when you faced the Erie, Colorado team. How much?
I remember them.
Yeah, like that was a tight game. Kind of just talk. How much has this team grown since that week one game? How much do you feel like the team has really grown and been able to get better from that?
And it's kind of weird that you brought Erie, Colorado up, because I was leaving the banquet. I was talking to a couple of coaches about it, and one of my top athletes, Fred Gaskin, was up for the Scott Brantley Trophy Award tonight banquet. So I wish him luck out there. But that Erie, Colorado game was just different. It was basically preparation. Just to mention Erie High School, they're actually be playing in the state championship where they're from up there. So it just made us better. I think you got to play against competition. All high school coaches or any coach out there that's coaching any sports, you got to play competition. You got to be able to compete, and they're very competitive. I mean, their quarterback was definitely a dual threat type kid. I mean, the kid made plays. You could be riding on his back, and he's throwing the football. I mean, he was tough.
Yeah.
They were tough in the trenches, and we had some miscues there. Things that we wanted to get better at. Definitely in the secondary, we definitely got better in the secondary. I want to get better at running the ball, moving the ball. Definitely timing, things like that. We have improved so much, over that time period. You think back then, we were off a beat, a little bit on offense. We was off a little bit on defense. We know what we wanted to do, but it was timing. So I think now where we're at now, we got better with timing, just doing the things that we need to do to speed up the play calling, and just doing the things right on the defense side of the ball. Playing assignment football is what we look at, playing on defense. I always got to include special teams in, because a lot of people they take special teams, they put on the back burner, but special team is highly important. Special team coordinator Coach Crocker does a good job coaching those guys up, making sure they're on task. And I think the key for us really been playing great special teams too. So we've gotten better over time just doing those things right.
Well, you guys got to hit the road, go to Daytona Beach, and face a Mainland Buccaneers team that was in the state championship game last year, which is kind of coincidentally you just played the team that won it last year. What do you see about Mainland? Who do they remind you? Do they remind you of a team you've already played?
Yeah, one thing about Vanguard football, again, we play some competition, and they really remind us of those teams that we play in Miami. We played Miami Central. We didn't play Miami Carol City before. We didn't play Miami New Orleans before. We just played a lot of Miami schools. I mean, hey, some of them I don't tell you what exactly what school is, but we played the Miami team. We definitely played Miami Central this year. We played Miami Carol City last year, in the year before that. But they definitely remind you of those teams. They're competitive. They're gonna come at it. They're gonna push you around. They're gonna do all the things that they're gonna be physical. They're gonna be physical. They're gonna and you got to go out there and be tough with them. You know, you got to go out there and compete with them. And you got, I like it because on the battlefield, our rule is that, hey, you got to, when you're in the trenches, you got to play and win in the trenches.
Yeah.
Win a football game in the trenches. The football game is won in the trenches. You got to be competitive. You got to push people back. And I think that's what it's going to be all about on Friday night. Who's going to win in those trenches? Who's going to be competitive? Who's going to want to compete?
I like that. I like that. Well, hey, Coach, how exciting is it right now around the community? You know, how just you guys have an opportunity to get to the state championship game. I mean, what's the vibes over there?
Man, it's live. It really is live. You know, everybody's excited. You know, you look around. You know, I know I come home, my family excited. You know, you go out in the community, everyone is excited about it, and like, hey, you guys got to keep playing. You know, just one more before the big game, and so, you know, it's great. You know, that's a great feeling. But, you know, we got to go out and play the game. At the end of the day, you know, we got to fight the fight. You know, you got to get in we still got to get in the ring. We got to get in the ring. We got to fight. So it's going to be a fight on Friday night between us and Maine.
Well, you guys got the road trip. Good luck on Friday night against Mainland. And hopefully we're talking to you next week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No doubt. Really appreciate the chance to give me this here tonight.
Thank you for staying on with us here at the Coastal. We're previewing state semifinals, and this is the first out of all the episodes where we got both head coaches of the game, and we're talking to them. We got Mainland head coach Travis Rowland, and Coach, thank you for joining us. And we just talked to your adversary, Coach Farmer of Vanguard, so kind of a first here.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me, man. Like I said, I always appreciate to be able to talk about Mainland football, so thanks a lot for having us on.
Absolutely. And Coach, I mean, got to talk about, I mean, this matchup against Vanguard. Obviously, they're coming off a big win over Lake Wales, 52-17. Just kind of talk about, I mean, what did you see out of Vanguard? Do they remind you of anyone that you've already played this season?
You know, obviously, I think, you know, we've played back-to-back teams now with quarterbacks that are beyond elusive, that are just downright electric. When you think about Taven Green from Rockledge, and then the kid, I think his last name is Darty. I can't remember, number 6 from Sebring, the quarterback. That's a Division I commit as well. So, you know, you turn the tape. Obviously, you know about Fred Gaskin, the football player. You've heard about that kid since he was a freshman for Vanguard. So we know that, you know, he's kind of the leader of that place and going to do his best to put his seat on his back and make great plays. I mean, he's electric with the football in his hands, does some great things, makes really good decisions, hasn't put his team in bad positions many times this year. So we know, you know, everything starts with him, but then he's got some guys that he can throw the ball to that can take it the distance if you don't tackle them in space. And they do a great job of getting guys the ball right away. And you got to be able to tackle those guys and be ready. So it's going to be an exciting time for us, and it's a good challenge, a challenge you want to be able to put yourself in a state championship game.
And talking about quarterbacks, I mean, you got to talk about your own Dennis Murray Jr. I got to see you guys when you guys beat Bartram Trail. I got to see him a little bit. Definitely solid dual threat quarterback. Kind of talk about his play and just how he stepped into this role and been able to kind of just keep you guys on schedule with getting back to the state championship game. You guys are in the Final Four, so obviously just a step before that.
I think the biggest thing with DJ's been, man, that he's been able, you know, he's been so consistent over the course of this season. I think when, you know, we heard a lot of noise about, the passing game. I think, you know, you find if you go back and look at the stats, I mean, he's thrown for like 175 yards, like 6 or 7 of our past 7-8 weeks. The only game there was a hiccup was the Lake Mary game. And I tell everybody that, you know, we learned a hard lesson in that game. There's a lot that had to do with us coaching, some things that we didn't have the guys prepared for, and a good job by Lake Mary too in the game plan that they chose defensively. And I think we fixed that. I think, you know, when I watched Lake Wales play Vanguard, I saw Vanguard do to Lake Wales what Lake Mary did to us. I'm sure Coach Farmer may know what I'm talking about when he talks about what they did to Lake Wales and how they kind of kept them bottled up. There were some schematic things they did that forced Lake Wales to do something that they didn't necessarily do. And I think, you know, we learned that lesson. Fortunately enough for us, we learned it in week 11 and not in the playoffs. So, DJ's been electric though, man, throwing it, running it, and then just downright being a leader, staying very cool headed. I think his play has been speaking for itself. That's why I picked up an offer from Citadel just last night. So, I think the sky's the limit for him. Alabama State gave us a call today. So, things are picking up for him because of the leader he is in the plays he's making right now.
And you got to tell me about how the schedule has really prepared you guys for like front. Just the way, I mean, I don't know if people they know or they don't know, but you guys have played some really tough teams. I mean, you just mentioned Lake Mary.
Yep. Talking about week 1 was Deland. They're in the Final Four this week. Newsflash. Week 2 was West Broward made it to the first round of the playoffs, lost by 2 points. That was the best season they've had, I think, in over 10 or 15 years. We played week 3. Oh my goodness, who was week 3? That was Bartram. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, Bartram lost to Buchholz. Some people think Buchholz may be the best team in the state. So he lost to a really good football team just last week, Thanksgiving weekend, a 3rd round team. Then you're talking about week 4 was Lake Mineola, I believe. They just it was in a dogfight. It was 42-35 at one point with Lakeland. Then we played Rains. Rains had a great football season. Had a very close loss just here recently. Then you get into the later half of the season, and that's where Bartram Trail, that's where Osceola resided. Osceola was one of the best, had one of the best defenses around, had a bunch of injuries, but still fought, one of the best backs in the state. And then, you face a Rockledge team. So we've been battle tested. We've played all type of teams, just a lot of different things. And I think that's been the biggest part for us is that because we've been in some of these games, we've been in dog fights, so we're kind of ready to continue to show our mettle against another good Florida opponent.
Talk about your defense. I mean, you guys have recorded multiple shutouts. Last year, they were a really good unit. This year, they've stood on all 10, really playing really good football. I mean, kind of just talk about that defensive unit.
Again, I think that, a lot of times people look at the finished product. They don't realize, the places Ramon McCullough, LJ McCray, Xavier Mincy have come from our first year together back in 2021, when people thought, LJ was a skinny basketball player that was soft and couldn't play. And now that he's a 5-star, it's like, oh my God, look at LJ. But it's like, man, we remember 2 years ago when everybody thought he was terrible. And so I think that's what's pushed us, man, is that our kids still have a chip on their shoulder, because they understand that they're never going to fully get the respect they fully deserve until we get the job done. And so that's been one of the biggest parts, that they've stayed humble in this entire process, and they want it, and they play so hard together. They hold each other accountable. You can come out, if you come out to a practice, you would be amazed at how hard they go and how much they hold each other accountable about the communication, being in the right position, and then finishing plays. But like I said, I think we got the best, front 7 in the state. When you in the front 6, because of kind of our schematics of it, with LJ McCray, Ramon McCullough, Christian Hudson, and then Rodney Hill, Myron Schaefer, and the best sophomore linebacker maybe in the country, in Dennis Tank King. So, I think we've got great guys. Like I said, I haven't even talked about Xavier Mincy and Isaiah Shine. So we're excited about, what we've got going on defense. And the unsung heroes are the guy up in the middle at our 3 safeties, DJ Noellen, Bubba Westbrook, Dre Wood, and Elijah Gilliard. Those guys get tested all year long in every game because nobody really goes outside. So just proud of those guys, man, for upholding a tradition of great Mainland defense, which people have seen for the last 30 years. Mainland's always played great defense.
And lastly, Coach, just you guys were last year, made it to the state championship game. How important is it to, like you said, finish, just be able to finish, kind of get the job done, and make sure that you're bringing a state championship home back to Daytona Beach?
When these playoffs started, our goal was obviously to get back to December 16th, 2022. We wanted to make sure we got back to that date, redeem ourselves. The first thing we told the kids was you can't get to week 5 for the playoffs without winning week 1. You can't get to week 3 without winning week 2, and so on and so forth. So our biggest thing has been taken care of right now. And right now, it's time for us to give ourselves a chance to go and finish. And that's the biggest thing. We've done a great job of getting ourselves at home and handling our business. That's Paxton coming in. Sorry about that. But that's what he does. But he's excited about finishing. He's giving me the countdown. The other day I was like, Paxton, 1 more. He's like, no, Daddy, we've got 2 more. We got to win 2 more. So everybody's mind is on finishing this whole deal and making sure we take care of business. But we're looking forward to seeing Daytona Beach come out tomorrow, Friday, in big numbers, and supporting these guys and making the place feel electric on Friday night.
Well, and we got a cameo from Coach Roland's son, Paxton. So we got to give him. He said, "Coach, not just one, it's two, and that's right. You got two to get to hoist the trophy in Tallahassee." So, Coach, good luck on Friday night against Vanguard, and well, hopefully, like I said to Coach Farmer, I mean, we'll be talking to you next week, right?
I hope we are. That's the plan. I really appreciate the platform you guys give to the kids and the programs. Thanks a lot, and hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow or next week. I'm sorry.
And no problem, man. Coach, thank you for joining us, and thank you for your time. I know precious here. So that is Mainland head coach Travis Rowland. His Buccaneers are going to host the Vanguard Knights in a Class 3S state semifinal. So that should be a really good game. We thank everyone for joining us here on the Coastal, and enjoy your Friday night football of state semifinal action.